Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where enduring wisdom meets the strength of presence and where we uncover the truths modern society refuses to teach men. There is a truth about women that is rarely spoken, one that cuts through the noise of modern dating advice and false bravado. A woman may love many men in her life, but she will only ever respect the one she cannot manipulate. Why? Because respect is born not from charm, appearance, or wealth, but from inner strength, from emotional discipline, from a man who refuses to be swayed by tactics, tears, or temptations. This is the man she looks at differently. This is the man whose presence shifts her behavior. This is the man whose silence teaches louder lessons than words. In this video, we will dive deep into 4 powerful chapters that expose the inner strength of the man who cannot be manipulated, and how this strength demands not only respect, but deep, lasting attraction. We'll talk about the subtle tests women use, why emotional control is the highest masculine currency, and how ancient wisdom, from Stoicism to Samurai Code, teaches us to be unshakable in the face of pressure. This isn't just about women, this is about you reclaiming your power as a man in a world that profits from your weakness. So if you're tired of being controlled, misunderstood, or emotionally drained, this is for you. Stay until the end. You'll walk away with clarity, confidence, and the kind of inner peace that no woman can ever take from you. And if you find value in this message, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support allows us to keep creating content that helps you grow into the man you were born to be. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The subtle art of feminine tests, and why most men fail them. In every interaction between a man and a woman, there is a silent game being played, not out of malice, not always out of conscious thought, but out of instinct. You see, women have evolved a powerful sense of emotional intelligence. They intuitively know how to test a man's character, not because they want to destroy him, but because they want to see if he's solid, if he's rooted, if he's worthy of leading. And here's the truth most modern men never hear. A woman will test you not to break you, but to reveal you. These tests are often subtle. She might give you the silent treatment. She might provoke a reaction. She might challenge your confidence, question your goals, or even flirt with your emotional limits. Why? Because she's searching for something deeper than looks or words. She wants to feel your center. She wants to know if you're a man who can stand firm, not just when things are easy, but when she's emotional, irrational, or testing your limits. The oak tree does not move because the wind howls. Ancient Japanese proverb. When you react with neediness, with begging, with over-explaining, or defensiveness, you fail the test. You show her that she can move you. And when she sees she can move you, she loses respect, often unconsciously. But when you stay calm, when you listen, breathe, and don't try to fix or control her emotions, when you hold your frame, she feels something rare. She feels safe, not because you bend to her, but because you don't. And in that safety, respect is born. Marcus was a high-achieving entrepreneur, confident in business but not in love. He started dating a woman who would often say things like, "You're probably texting other girls," or "You care more about work than me." Old Marcus would get defensive. "No, babe, I'm not. I'm always thinking of you, I swear." But when he learned emotional discipline and inner grounding, he changed his response. She'd accuse, he'd smile gently and say, "I understand how you feel, but I won't explain myself for living my purpose." No anger, no argument, just presence. What happened? She stopped testing. She softened. And most importantly, she respected him. Because here's the truth. You don't earn respect by reacting. You earn it by remaining calm, by remaining in your power, by remaining true to your path, no matter how emotional the storm gets. This is what ancient Stoics called ataraxia, unshakable inner peace. Not coldness, but clarity. Not indifference, but immovability. He who angers you controls you. Marcus Aurelius. In today's world, Too many men have lost this clarity. They bend at the slightest emotional pressure. They trade their strength for validation, and then wonder why she no longer looks at them the same way. But a high-value man, a stoic golden man, knows better. He knows her emotions are not commands, they are invitations. To stay grounded, to lead with strength, to remind her, and himself, that his emotions are his own kingdom. So remember this: if she can control your emotions, she can never fully trust you. But if she feels your calm presence, even in her storm, she will surrender her heart to you in a way no manipulation ever could. Comment below. Have you ever experienced a moment when staying calm earned you more respect than reacting would have? Drop your story. Your brothers are watching and learning. Chapter 2. Emotional Mastery. The superpower she can't resist. Every woman has emotions, but not every man knows what to do when they come crashing down like waves on rock. And that's the difference between the man she forgets and the man she respects. Let's be clear. We live in an age where emotional expression is everywhere. Social media encourages emotional outbursts. Music glorifies impulsiveness, and popular culture shames masculine stoicism as cold or toxic. But here's the truth no one dares to say anymore. A man who cannot control his emotions will always be controlled by someone else's. Let that sink in, because the man who becomes reactive, who lets jealousy, insecurity, or anger control him, becomes a puppet to manipulation. His woman learns exactly what strings to pull, and without even meaning to, she begins to see him as weak. Now hear this clearly. Most women don't consciously want to manipulate men, but deep down they need to feel that their man is emotionally stronger than they are. Not colder, stronger, not passive, but poised. She wants to lean into you, not have to hold you together. And she will test your emotional strength, not to destroy you, but to see if you can carry her storms without falling apart. This is why the man who masters his emotions becomes irresistible. He's the calm in the chaos, the eye of the hurricane. He doesn't need to yell, beg, cry, or chase, because his presence speaks louder than any outburst ever could. Let's bring this to real life. There was a man named Elijah, a veteran turned coach. His girlfriend would sometimes try to provoke reactions. She'd say things like, "You're always in control. Don't you care enough to fight for me?" She would cry, get angry, slam doors, expecting him to engage. But Elijah had trained himself. He had studied Stoicism, meditation, and the warrior codes of the samurai. He would simply breathe, look her in the eyes, and say, "I do care. That's why I won't argue with you. I love you too much to fight you." No raised voice, no retaliation, just calm, truth, strength. At first, she didn't know what to do with it. She wasn't used to a man not reacting, but over time, something shifted in her. She stopped the games, she trusted him more, and most importantly, she respected him more deeply than any man before, because she finally met a man she could not move emotionally unless he chose to move. That is power, that is emotional sovereignty. And men, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to stop handing your emotions over to the world, especially not to someone who's still figuring out how to manage her own. The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. Plato, the Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. Marcus Aurelius faced war, betrayal, and loss. But in his journal, he reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So how do you build this emotional power? Practice silence before reacting. Learn to breathe before you speak. Understand that her emotions are not threats. They are expressions. Let her feel. You stay still. And most importantly, never explain your worth. Let your actions prove it. Because when you stay calm in chaos, you become her anchor. You become the one she turns to. Not to control, but to be held by. And the more she sees she can't shake you, the more she respects you. Because you've become a man who rules himself. And that's the kind of man she'll never forget. and never try to manipulate. Comment below. What has been your biggest challenge in mastering your emotions? We're all in this journey together. Your story could help another brother rise. Chapter 3. Boundaries are masculine power, not punishment. Let's talk about a forgotten word in the modern man's vocabulary: boundaries. A man without boundaries is like a kingdom with no walls, open to every invader, vulnerable to every emotional weapon, and defenseless against manipulation. This is the man who says yes when he wants to say no, who allows disrespect because he fears being alone, who sacrifices his time, his mission, even his masculinity, just to keep the peace. But here's the hard truth: the man who avoids conflict to keep peace starts a war within himself. Unknown. And no woman truly respects a man who's at war with himself, because she can sense it. She can feel it when your kindness is weakness, when your forgiveness is fear, when your silence is not strength, but submission. Women don't test your boundaries because they're evil. They test them because they want to know where you end and where they begin, because only then can they feel safe. Derek was in a relationship with a woman who constantly crossed lines, going through his phone, belittling him in front of friends, weaponizing tears to get her way. He'd say with some, "It's okay, I love you," thinking that would fix things. But each time he allowed it, she lost a little more respect. Until one day, he looked her in the eye and said, "I love you, but I will not allow disrespect ever again. If that costs me this relationship, I'm willing to pay that price." She didn't cry. She didn't argue. She looked at him in silence. And for the first time, she saw the man behind the smile. The energy shifted. She didn't walk out. She softened, because she finally met a man who respected himself more than he feared losing her. That, brothers, is boundary-based masculinity. It is not aggression, it's not domination, it's not about control, it's about defending your soul. It's about saying, "I will not tolerate emotional abuse. I don't explain myself for prioritizing my mission. I choose peace, but I'm not afraid of walking away." Because walking away, and when necessary, is the ultimate boundary. And sometimes, the only way a woman learns to respect you is when she realizes you're not afraid to leave. Now let's bring in some ancient wisdom. In Roman times, the Stoics taught that self-respect is the foundation of virtue. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And part of being a master of yourself is defending your time, your energy, your standards. The samurai called this shihai, self-rule. A true warrior didn't react to insults or threats, but he never tolerated dishonor. Boundaries are not rules you impose on others. They are standards you live by. And when you live by them, people adjust or disappear. And that's okay, because here's what most men forget. The wrong woman will leave when you set boundaries. The right woman will rise to meet them. She will test you, yes, but when she sees you hold your ground without anger or fear, she feels what most women never feel today: safe, seen, led, because she now knows she's dealing with a man who leads his own life, not one who waits for approval to act like a man. And in that realization, something beautiful happens. Respect replaces manipulation. She doesn't need to test anymore. She trusts you, because you trust yourself. So ask yourself, where have you let boundaries slide? What behavior are you tolerating that silently kills your self-respect? Because no amount of love is worth losing yourself over. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. Tony Gaskins. And once you raise your standards, the people in your life will either rise with you or reveal why they were never meant to be in your kingdom to begin with. Comment below. What boundary have you learned to set in your relationships that changed everything for you? Your story may help another man take his first stand. Chapter 4. The Unshakable Man. Why true power can't be taken, only revealed by now. You've seen the pattern. Respect doesn't come from pleasing, it comes from presence. It doesn't come from being a nice guy, but from being a man of internal power, a man who refuses to be moved by manipulation, games, or fear of loss. But here's the core truth. A man who knows who he is can never be manipulated. Stoic golden tribe. Because manipulation only works when you doubt your own value, when you need her to validate your masculinity, when you need her to tell you you're enough, because deep down, you don't believe it yet. So let's go deeper. What makes a man unshakable? It's not physical strength, it's not status, it's not a bank account, it's knowing your identity, independent of any woman, any title, or any applause. When you know your values, your mission, your standards, you become unmanipulable, because now, no threat of abandonment can shake you, no emotional outburst can guilt you, no silent treatment can break your resolve. And here's the secret. That man, the unshakable one, is the one women truly respect. Not just romantically, but spiritually, because he represents something rare in this world, self-mastery. Let's bring this home with an ancient story. In ancient Greece, there was a philosopher named Diogenes. He owned nothing, slept in a barrel, was laughed at by many, but when Alexander the Great, and the most powerful man on earth, visited him and asked, "Is there anything I can do for you?" Diogenes replied, "Yes. Move. You're blocking my sunlight." That's power. He had no wealth, no army, no position. But his internal self-respect was so absolute, even the greatest emperor couldn't buy his approval. That's the kind of man no one can manipulate. And that's who you must become, because whether you're a king or a carpenter, a soldier or a student, your value does not come from what the world gives you. It comes from what you refuse to give away. Don't give away your emotional control, time and attention to chaos, peace in exchange for approval, standards in the name of love. Because real love, real respect, begins when a man says, "This is who I am. I won't change it to be liked. I'd rather be alone than be controlled." And you know what happens then? Women lean in, not because they can manipulate you, but because they finally feel safe to be feminine around you, because your masculinity is no longer reactive. It's radiant. It doesn't chase. It attracts. It doesn't collapse. It contains. It doesn't beg. It leads. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. Lao Tzu. So if you've been manipulated before, forgive yourself. You weren't weak. You just hadn't been taught. But now you know. You don't need to play games. You don't need to win her over. You only need to become the man that no manipulation can move. And in doing so, you become the man every woman respects, even when she can't explain why, because your presence will say, "I'm not here to be controlled. I am here to lead." And that is the man she cannot and will not forget. Comment below, what's the biggest lesson you're taking away from this message? We grow stronger together. Your insight might change another man's path. Now you know the truth. A woman doesn't respect the man she can control. She respects the man who controls himself. The man who stands tall when others shrink. Who walks away when lines are crossed. Who loves deeply, but never loses himself in the process. This man doesn't need to manipulate or be manipulated because he is rooted in something deeper than desire, self-mastery. And this world? It doesn't need more men chasing validation. It needs men like you. Men who are reclaiming their power, their presence, and their purpose. Become the man who commands respect, not with words, but with unwavering energy. Stoic golden tribe. And remember, brother, respect doesn't come from trying to be liked. It comes from having the courage to be real, to say no when it matters, to hold the line when others fold, and to carry your masculinity like a crown, not a costume. That's who you are becoming. And every day you walk that path, you walk with the strength of every great man who came before you. So if this message lit a fire in you, don't let it burn out. Like this video, share it with a brother who needs to hear it, drop a comment below and tell me what hit you the hardest, and subscribe to Stoic Golden Tribe, where we bring you the truths modern society refuses to teach men. Your support helps this tribe grow, and together we rise. This is more than content. This is a movement. Until next time, stand firm, stay rooted, and always lead yourself first.